Hi, I'm Susan Cowell. I am a staff nurse in the neonatal intensive care unit at Kapiolani Medical Center for Women and Children. I have been there for 42 years now. I had my anniversary a couple weeks ago. I started there as a new grad. I've done a lot in my career, more than I ever envisioned. I got to do teaching. I got to do leadership quality things. I did committee work. I've done all the new grad teachings. I developed programs for the new grad, as well as for joining the two units together. We were an intermediate nursery unit and an ICU unit. So we had to develop a curriculum, which I did. I was on the transport team for a little bit, and what that involved was transport inter-island or on the island of Oahu, bringing back babies to our medical center. But most of all, I love being a bedside nurse, which I am still today, 42 years later. I have a passion for this population of babies. I love being a patient advocate through the good times and the not so good times for families, to help them navigate their journey through the NICU. I had to have surgery on my 16th birthday. I had attended a birthday party for a colleague. Actually, she's a colleague, and I say that because she became a nurse eventually. But on our 16th birthday, she invited me to her party. I ended up having bad gastroenteritis. And so they thought I had appendectomy when they took me to the hospital. And I actually had an appendectomy on my birthday. So what prompted me into thinking about nursing was I had a very empathetic and compassionate nurse's aide that actually sat by my bedside and talked to me about, why don't I become a nurse? Because she asked me what I wanted to do, and I said, well, you know, I'm in high school. I love Latin. And I also was thinking of becoming maybe some sort of engineer. But anyway, as fate would have it, I got accepted into nursing school, and I went to nursing. When I was looking for a job as a new grad, I got accepted into two different hospitals. One was Queens Medical Center on Oahu and also at Kapiolani. But one was an oncology position, and the other one was in neonatal. And I thought, you know, I really wanted pediatrics, which they didn't have any openings at the time. So my supervisor, when I was a CNA, told me we have 16 openings in the neonatal intensive care unit because everybody's quitting. Why don't you try that out? I've never been in a neonatal intensive care unit, but she said you can always try it, and if you don't like it, you can always transfer when there's an opening. So sight unseen, I took this job into the neonatal intensive care unit, and they didn't have a new grad program. So I started with two experienced RNs back in 1982. And I thought, okay, just have an open mind, Susan, try, and if you don't like it, you can always change later. But as fate would have it, I didn't change. I'm still there. One of the greatest things of being a neonatal intensive care unit nurse is you have to be a strong patient advocate, because obviously your patients cannot speak for themselves. So which means that you have to be a good clinician, be able to assess, have critical thinking skills, and be an effective communicator, and speak to the family to teach them how to be a patient advocate for their children, as well as speaking up for my patient. I've received a few awards in my lifetime as a nurse. I think my first one was Nurse of the Month, after I had been working there for about 5 years, which I was so proud because I thought, wow, after working here for a little bit, I get an award. And that, meant a lot to me. So it kind of encouraged me. And then back in 2016, I got an award from my local organization called Caring for Hawaii Neonate. Most recently, I've gotten an award from the Aligned organization, which was formed by our local organization and 4 other neonatal organizations. And it was from the Royal Order of Kapiolani and the Hawaiian Civic Club, as well as Caring for Hawaii Neonate. And I actually have the pin on. But I am so proud of that because I belong to all of those organizations and attended conferences, and I've learned all I've learned from all the people that run these organizations, and proud to be members of these organizations. Those opportunities I am so grateful for in life to have had. I had the opportunity for the first one, and I actually never met the author, but through an email from my local organization, I was asked, how do healthcare professionals take care of this patient population, the late preterm? And I actually did not grow up as a intermediate nursery nurse. I was strictly an NICU nurse for 35, 36 years. So I didn't know how to take care of these kind of babies. I just taught people from textbooks and lectured in classrooms. But I learned to take care of them. And so I decided that my perspective would be from how do we want to be taken care of? So I actually wrote this chapter from their perspective, how we want to be taken care of. Like being called by our first name, what specific diagnoses we have, and how clinicians should take care of us. And I actually used 3 primaries, and these are patients that I took care of. And I got permission from their parents for the publishers to publish their first names. And the author actually liked my perspective so much, she put me in the introduction chapter with her. So I'm so proud of that. That was my first book. My second inclusion was in another book that was written by many, many scholars of neonatal nursing. And that one was because of my president. She asked me if I could write into this cultural chapter, which I developed a statement called Mana. And that talked about that in the cultural chapter. I was proud of that too. And then my third writing is the most recent, and that got published in 2024, just in February. I got to talk about an experience that I had taking care of conjoined twins. And this was a set of 2-headed babies I had the opportunity to be a primary nurse for. I had spoken about them at a local conference here, and one of the presidents of AWAN at the time asked me if I would write it up. And so I was going through a lot of personal things at the time, and I told her that I would, but she was very persistent and very encouraging. And 6 months down the line, still emailed me back and forth and said, can you write it up? And she even helped me submit to the publisher. And it got published in February. And the title of my manuscript was A Passion for Life. And right now I'm working on editing a chapter in a comprehensive neonatal nursing book on metabolic and endocrine disorders with 2 other nurses, and was last published in 2019 and will be republished in 2025. After all these years of teaching, new grad, and watching and mentoring and precepting people, I truly believe that there are certain qualities that people should have to be an effective nurse. And I believe number one would be having empathy for your patient and your family, along with compassion. Number two, I believe you should have assessment skills. Those are very important, because we are clinicians. We are not diagnosers like MDs, but the doctors rely on us for our assessment skills to make a diagnosis. So I think that a clinician should have good assessment skills. The third thing I think an effective nurse should have would be attention to detail. I think you have to really be able to pinpoint things. So you have to have attention to detail. And number four, you have to be a good communicator, because you're the one that ties everything to the medical team, whether the doctor, the other nurses, the social worker. And so you have to be a good facilitator of information. And if you're going to be a good patient advocate, you have to be there for your families as well. So all of those components, I believe, are very important. And you have to have resiliency, because it's not an easy job. There are days you go home and the reward will be from you. You have to just say, I did the best I could today, and leave it at that. My retirement, to be honest, I couldn't answer that question right now, because I'm kind of leaving it open. Every day I'm just grateful for one thing, and just to be alive, and healthy. I'm just most grateful for it. I've had so many opportunities to travel in my life. I don't feel like I need to do that. I love art. I want to read. I want to better my photography skills. I love cooking. I love all ethnic cooking, making up my own recipes. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Who knows? I might even write a book someday of my life as a neonatal nurse. I don't know. I'm leaving it open. After working in the NICU for 5 years, I kept thinking, maybe it's time to move on. But I had the opportunity to take care of these conjoined twins that had 2 heads and 1 body. They lived only for 1 week, but they taught me so much about life, my career. They actually shaped my career, because through them, I became a teacher. I taught all the new grads for years. I put together programs. I joined the bioethics committee in my hospital, which was one of the best committees. I loved the cases of bioethics. I got to do quality and improvement projects. I even got involved in what they call retinopathy of prematurity eye study with the NIH. And like I said, I traveled, I did some transport, and that was an experience. I went to a neonatal conference every single year just to make sure that I kept abreast with what was going on. And we didn't get paid from the hospital all the time. I funded my own transport, airfares and hotels. They paid for education reimbursement. But I learned from so many people, and I traveled all over the country and made it into a vacation. But these boys taught me about myself and what I could do with my career if I just opened my eyes to the world and share with others what I learned. And I feel like that's what I've done all these years. And a patient's experience is what I'm most grateful to be involved in, because you get to know your family, their culture. You become a part of that family. I've watched families grow. Over the years, I have 3 godsons. Some are in their 30s, and I still keep in touch with the mom. These were 27-weekers, 23-weekers, and a 30-weeker. And they're all doing well. So that gives me joy in knowing that I was embraced by these families to be a part of their family in the beginning. And that's why I encourage people to become neonatal nurses. I mean, you'll experience things in life that you will be so overwhelmed. And what better time to be a nurse than to be in the beginning of the person's life? When I went to Washington, D.C. many years ago in the 90s to a neonatal conference, my girlfriend and I went to a conference, and we arrived at the hotel really early. And I saw something that I thought we weren't supposed to be there, but I thought, wow, this is an experience I'll remember for the rest of my life. I got to see Arafat and Netanyahu at the Hyatt in Washington, D.C. And my girlfriend actually took a picture of them down from a balcony. And actually, we weren't supposed to be on that part of the hotel, but I thought, wow, look at that. We actually got to see this. And Arafat is so short compared to Netanyahu. And then later when I read up, he was 5'2". And I thought, yeah, he is a short man. But it goes to show that height in life doesn't mean anything. You can achieve whatever you want. It doesn't matter what you look like or how tall you are. Here are two world leaders, and they're trying to achieve peace. And I thought, wow, I got to see this. I feel like whoever nominated me, which they would never disclose to me, or they said they didn't know when I was picked, people will see that I've actually done a lot in my neonatal career. I mean, I never look for recognition. I appreciate the recognition, and like I wrote in my story for the Passion for Life, I just appreciate the opportunities in life that God has given me in becoming a neonatal nurse and changing lives, whether it's through bedside nursing, writing, teaching. But most important is just being a part of a bedside nurse, which I love, and I can't tell you how much that passion has meant to me. It's a passion for life. I feel very honored and privileged to be recognized. I feel like maybe now it'll encourage people to become neonatal nurses, because I'm not going to be around forever. I mean, I've already been there for a long time. And I just want people to see that, yes, you can achieve anything in this world if you put your mind to it. And my motto in life, I want to share this as the ending: positivity, flexibility, and resiliency. That'll get anybody through everything in life. I've gone through a lot in my professional and personal life. But having God in my life and my motto had gotten me far. It'll carry me through my next chapter, whatever it might be.